On one hand, we have Police Sergeant Lim Abbey, who is 35 years old and comes from a long line of police officers. Sadly, this has given him a sense of superiority that, driven by arrogance, has only caused problems. People fear him and prefer to stay silent and obey rather than start a conflict, which allowed him to rise through the ranks with relative ease, increasing his self-confidence and turning him into a truly despicable person. Abe looked down on the people he worked with, believing he was better than them simply because he came from a police family. And although everyone knew that this was not the proper behavior for a police officer, no one dared to question him. Everyone knew how powerful and feared Liam's father and grandfather were, and it was clear that the young officer was following the same path as his ancestors, intending to preserve their legacy intact, or if allowed, make it even greater. While not everyone in his family approved of his behavior, his mother was desperate about his behavior, having left his father for similar reasons, and hoped her only son wouldn't follow the same path. She tried to raise him well, but he admired the men in his family and quickly copied their actions. His mother constantly warned him that people would refuse to work with him, and that professional and personal relationships would be difficult if he didn't change his behavior, but Liam refused to listen to her. His pride was much greater than what others might think of him or his family, and not even his mother was able to change his mind or make him realize the big mistake he was making with this behavior. Abi believed that they should never apologize for being who they are. We are a family of respected police officers, the best police officers that the city of San Francisco has ever known. And as a mother and wife of two respected officers, you should be proud of that and not blame me for everything. I'm sorry, Mom, but you're not right, Liam would say to his mother whenever she tried to change his behavior. On the other hand, we have Ethan Harper, and what can we say about him? Compared to his supervisor and new patrol partner, Liam, we can say only one thing about Harper. He is a good man and a dedicated police officer. He deserves all our respect and yours as well. As soon as you reach the end of this story, and this brings us to the moment when these two completely different men, who actually have so much in common, met and set out together on their first patrol. It happened on a summer morning. The police station was understaffed at that time, as many officers had started their vacations, forcing them to rely on a group of newly graduated officers. They wanted to prove themselves and earn their place. One of them was Ethan. When Liam learned that he would have to go on patrol with a rookie officer, he was in a bad mood. Abi hated going out with rookie officers, but he saw it as an opportunity to put them in their place and let them know exactly who they were up against. Ethan was unaware of what he was facing, excited to prove himself as a cop and full of enthusiasm for his first patrol in the city. Abi quickly picked up on all these feelings and knew that he would be an easy rookie officer to handle. Someone he could easily outsmart, although he would soon realize his mistake, and that he had underestimated a young man whose abilities as a police officer, and above all as a human being, far exceeded his own. They had only been on patrol for half an hour when something caught Liam's attention. The officer slowed the car and craned his neck out the window to watch a black girl, barely 5 years old, riding her bike around the neighborhood. Ethan, who didn't understand his supervisor's behavior of watching the girl play on her bike, asked why they had stopped. When it was clear there was nothing suspicious to investigate. "She's just a child playing. Why are we watching her?" the rookie asked innocently. But when Officer Abbey shot him a sharp look in response, Ethan suddenly realized that his partner wasn't the joking type, and that the matter was more serious than he had imagined. The rookie sank into his seat and fell silent, embarrassed and afraid of what Abbey might do. There was something about Liam's attitude that caught his attention, making Ethan feel a bad suspicion that the need to watch this little girl had to do with the color of her skin, and not anything else. Nevertheless, he decided to wait and give his boss the benefit of the doubt. It didn't take long for him to realize he was wrong. They stood watching the girl for several minutes until Liam finally broke the silence, but what he said only made his partner more nervous. "Stay here and watch. Now, I'll show you what it means to bring justice in this city, and what it means to be a real police officer in San Francisco." He winked and got out of the car with an expression that made his intentions very clear. Liam got out of the car and walked steadily toward the girl who was still riding her bike in the street. The girl was playing happily, seemingly unaware that there were two officers watching her, and they were now approaching her. The fun was about to end. Ethan still hopes that his partner will behave properly and follow the principles that the police taught them. But when Liam ordered the girl to reveal her name and address, he looked at her as if he had come across a big rat that he had to get rid of. The rookie was speechless. He was now more convinced than ever that Liam was targeting the girl just because she was black. Then he acted on impulse and disregarded the regulations that required him not to disobey his direct supervisor's orders. Ethan got out of the car in an attempt to stop Liam and save that poor girl from the interrogation his colleague was subjecting her to. "Leave her alone. Can't you see she's scared and doesn't understand what you're saying to her? She's just a child," Ethan shouted in despair. But Abby didn't seem to hear anything he was saying and kept yelling louder and louder at the terrified girl. Suddenly, the girl abandoned her bike and ran down the street toward her house. But instead of seeing the girl's reaction as clear evidence that he was wrong, Liam thought that if the girl ran away, it was because she was really doing something wrong, and he ran after her, which only added to Ethan's confusion. "Liam, please stop. That little girl didn't do anything wrong. She's scared. Don't chase her," Harper shouted to his inner boss as he ran after him. But Abby had already reached the girl, holding her tightly by one arm while taking off his handcuffs and putting them on her thin wrists. The girl was trembling, and her body began to release huge sobs that echoed down the street. When he saw her, Ethan felt his heart break. And he knew he had to do something to end the situation, but he didn't know what to do. Neither he nor his partner knew that there was someone else listening to the cries of this helpless girl, someone with the authority to end everything, including perhaps the careers of the two officers. It turned out that the girl had almost reached the door of her house, which was only a few meters away from where the officer was holding her, and that the girl's father was inside the house. Upon seeing the scene, the father burst out in anger. He was an imposing man, the kind who could freeze your blood. With one look, he made it clear not to challenge him, the type of man Liam would fear, and with good reason. "What are you doing with my daughter? Let her go now?" The man shouted in anger and pushed Liam away from his daughter. The man was furious, just like any father would be when he sees his son. Handcuffed and screaming. But there was something else that no one knew, something that would change everything completely. When he saw that neither of the two officers was able to give a convincing explanation for what they were doing, the man took his wallet out of his pocket and showed them his identification card. Suddenly, Liam lost all color in his face. His arrogant look disappeared and was replaced by an immediate look of regret. The girl's father was the new deputy chief of police, Patrick Reynolds, who had just arrived in the city and was starting his new assignment tomorrow. That man was Liam's direct superior, and he was handcuffing his daughter for no apparent reason at her doorstep. However, instead of admitting he made a mistake and apologizing to his boss, Abby tried to avoid punishment. He made up a story about how the girl was causing trouble outside people's homes, which was supposedly the reason for her arrest, but it wasn't convincing at all. Harper was terrified. He couldn't listen anymore to the lies Liam was telling the girl's father. The rookie knew that good police officers shouldn't behave the way Liam did. And although he felt bad for not doing anything to stop his colleague, he now had another chance to do the right thing and teach him a lesson. So, finally, he broke his silence and told Major Reynolds the whole truth about how the senior officer immediately assumed the girl, his daughter, was doing something wrong, and how he intimidated her and chased her down the street without any explanation. Major Reynolds was angry that Abby had clearly acted in a racist manner toward his daughter, and he decided that the matter would be handled officially at the police station. "You did the right thing by telling the truth. Rookie, I know you just started, and the last thing you want is to go against your boss, but your duty to justice and ethics is higher than the rules." "Congratulations," Major Reynolds said to him after he told him everything. Abby's reign of terror was about to end. He made a grave mistake, and this time there was no one willing to lie for him. Ethan Harper was a rookie, but he wasn't afraid of him, and he was ready to tell the truth as much as it took to properly punish Liam. The next day, when Major Liam summoned him to his office, the corrupt officer still maintained a tone of self-confidence. He had gotten out of previous situations easily, and he believed that the new major there could get him out of this one just as easily, without reprimand or warning. But this time things wouldn't be that easy. After closing the office door, Major Patrick Reynolds told Liam he was dismissed, and Liam's earlier confidence vanished as he understood what it meant. With everyone at the station against him, and plenty of evidence of corruption and racism in his record, Liam Abbey would never be a police officer again. When he realized his career was over, Abbey pleaded with the major to reconsider and take his years of service into account, but it was no use. The major wasn't interested in running a police station with corrupt officers, let alone an officer who wrongly arrested his daughter just for her skin color. Racism is something we should fight against, not encourage with our actions and prejudices, no matter who you are or how superior you think you are. I will not allow anyone to act in a racist way in this station, and anyone who does so will be severely punished. Never forget that, said Major after announcing the immediate dismissal of Liam Abbey. For his part, Harper received a wave of congratulations from all his colleagues, especially from the Major, who told them all that they should always raise their voices if something wrong happens, just like Ethan did. Although he had been a police officer for a short time, Liam underestimated his abilities just because he was a shy and insecure person. But in the end, the rookie turned out to be braver than anyone, and he ended up teaching him a lesson he would never forget. His arrogance, playfulness, and anger kept him on top for years. But in the end, his mother was right. They caused his downfall. Did you like this touching and surprising story? If so, we invite you to leave a comment expressing your opinion. If you want to keep enjoying inspiring stories like this, subscribe to our channel or check out the other videos displayed at the bottom of the screen. Thank you for your cooperation.